Hi everybody, Patrick here from EngineeringShock.com and ElectronicLessons.com. This is actually an old kit that I just never integrated. I had to make some changes to the design. This is the clap clap on, clap clap off kit. I'll be selling these as modules, fully built and tested, and as kits. And this video will serve to show you how to put the kit together and how to use the built product. This is what comes with the kit. You got your custom PCB, 2 terminal blocks, one 3-pin, one 2-pin, power diode, a 10 microfarad electrolytic capacitor, 2 0.1 microfarad ceramic capacitors, 3 10K resistors, a 470 ohm resistor, an electret microphone, a 5-volt relay, a 78 LO5 5-volt regulator, a 2N2222 NPN transistor, a DIP 8 socket, a program PIC 10F222, and a red 3mm LED. So first of all, let's put the resistors on. This kit was initially going to be sold with R3 being a 100K ohm resistor, but I was finding some variability in the sensitivity of the circuit when I used a resistance that high. So I brought it down to 10. So R3, while it's labeled 100K R3, make sure you place one of the 3 10K ohm resistors here. R2 is also 10K, R4 is also 10K, and R1 is 470 ohms. So place those in. And I'd like to also add a footnote here. If you find that by chance, and it shouldn't happen, I've built up about 10 of these with no problems, but if you find even with 10K ohms along the R3 line, if you find that you're still getting too much sensitivity, just bring it down to 5K or 1K if you have one. But you should be just fine. So make sure that 10K goes into R3. So solder those into place. Next we'll do the capacitors. The C1 footprint, labeled C1 10U, is your 10 microfarad electrolytic capacitor. There is a plus sign on the left, which indicates that that's the positive side. On your electrolytic capacitor, the longer lead is your positive, so make sure you place your longer lead in here, and your shorter lead on the right. If you turn that around, you might blow up your capacitor when you turn it on, so be careful. C2 and C3 are your 0.1 microfarad ceramic capacitors. They're not polarized. Their leads are the same size. So place them in either way. You're not going to have to worry about polarization there. Next we'll do the diodes. The LED goes into the LED 1 slot. The LED has a long lead and a short lead. The long lead is positive, short lead is negative. The negative pin, the short pin, goes on the side of the footprint with the actual LED 1 indicator on it. Long lead goes on the side closest to the R1 resistor. Your power diode goes into the D1 slot, 1N4001. Now, there on the diode there is a stripe on one side, a white stripe, and the rest of it's black on the left side. On the footprint there is a white stripe on this side, and no white stripe on this side. Make sure you match up the white stripe on the diode to the white stripe on the footprint. So solder those into place. Next we'll do the regulator and the transistor. There are 2 very similar looking components here, but they're very different. The labeling is on the front, the flat side. The IC2 footprint, labeled IC278LO5, is the 78 LO5 regulator. You should be able to read that on the flat side of the regulator. Now from a bird's eye view, there's a curved side and a flat side. Make sure that when you place the 78 LO5 5-volt regulator in, that you match from a bird's eye view the flat side and the curved side. Same goes for the transistor, the 2N2222. Make sure that you read the labels on them and you don't mix them up. Because if you mix them up, it's not going to be good. Your circuit will not work. The 2N2222 has a label on the front that says 2N2222. It's got a flat side and a curved side, just like the regulator. Make sure that when you place it in, that you match again the flat side to the flat side of the transistor, and the flat side and the curved side of the footprint to the curved side of the transistor. Solder those into place, and next we'll do the terminal blocks in the socket. The terminal blocks have a screw terminal side and a plastic side. Make sure that when you place them in, that these terminals are facing outwards, not inwards. Very important, or else you won't be able to wire your power connections or your relay connections. The socket, you might notice, has a notch in one side. The IC has a notch in one side, and the footprint for IC1 has a notch. Make sure that you line up all of the notches. If you don't, you're going to put your IC in backwards and your circuit's not going to work. In fact, you're going to fry your IC. So solder those all into place. Make sure that your terminal blocks have good, strong connections and that there are no shorts on the IC. The relay has 5 pins. The socket for the relay, or rather the footprint, has 5 pins as well. And it really only fits in one way because there's 3 pins on one side and 2 on the other. Make sure that it's flush to the board and that the solder joints are very strong because these are your high power connections. Very, very important. Lastly, we'll do the microphone. The little electret microphone has 2 pins. On one side there is a little green speck, and that speck is an indicator of the negative pin. So you want to make sure that the pin with the little green speck beside it goes in the mic minus hole. The mic plus hole is the hole with the lead opposite the green speck. So again, lead closest to the green speck underneath the microphone goes in the mic minus. Now what I suggest doing is very gently bending these leads apart so that they fit in the mic slots. Then gently adding a nice healthy layer of solder underneath. You don't have to go overboard as long as the mic leads are properly soldered in. So once we're done this, we should be able to test it. I'm going to power it on, 7 to 9 volts. When the relay is on, you'll have a visual indicator with the LED. The LED is on, the relay is on. You won't be able to hear the relay click because I'll be too busy clapping. Now, from what you saw earlier, I made a mistake. Not R3 should be 1K, not 10K. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. So you can control your AC using the labeled terminal block outputs. Common pin, normally connected pin, normally open pin. Thanks for watching, everyone. These can be found at engineeringshock.com and electroniclessons.com.